It started like any other quiet morning in Atlanta. The sun barely rose, and yet the internet was already on fire. Whispers were spreading across social media. Whispers that Shekinah had just been charged. 10 years in prison. And not just for any case. It was Tiny who allegedly submitted the footage that sealed her fate. People didn't want to believe it at first. Tiny and Shekinah had been sisters in everything but blood. They laughed together, cried together, and stood side by side through every scandal. But something had changed. Something dark. The first clip that leaked showed Shekinah being escorted out of her home in tears, screaming that she was being set up. Cameras caught it all, her hands shaking, her voice cracking as she shouted, "I didn't do this! Tiny knows the truth." That one sentence was enough to make everyone pause. What truth? Within hours, fans dug deep. Old videos resurfaced. Moments of tension between Tiny and Shekinah during their reality show days. Awkward glances, bitter laughs that once looked harmless. But now they looked like warning signs. Behind the scenes, Tiny was silent. No posts, no statements. Just a single cryptic Instagram story with the words, "What's done in the dark always comes to light." That was all it took. The internet exploded. Some fans said Tiny was finally exposing something Shekinah did behind her back. Others thought she was covering her own tracks, using Shekinah as a scapegoat for something far bigger. And when rumors started that the footage Tiny submitted wasn't just business-related, but deeply personal, everything got darker. According to insiders, the video contained private conversations, emotional breakdowns, confessions, and even discussions about a pregnancy that had allegedly been hidden years ago. A pregnancy no one knew about. Until now. Suddenly, the whispers turned into chaos. People began connecting dots that maybe shouldn't have been connected. They remembered that wild rumor, the one that said Shekinah had once been too close to T.I. back in the day. It was denied, laughed off, brushed aside. But now, with this new tape allegedly showing moments between Shekinah and T.I., things started to look messy. T.I., who had been laying low since the DNA scandal rumors, was cornered. Paparazzi caught him outside a restaurant, his face tight, refusing to answer questions. When one reporter asked if he'd seen the footage Tiny submitted, T.I. snapped, "Y'all believe anything. I ain't saying nothing about that woman." That short sentence told fans everything. He was angry. But was he angry at Tiny? Or at Shekinah? Tiny, meanwhile, was said to be emotionally broken. A close source claimed she didn't want to hurt Shekinah, but the footage was part of her legal defense in a lawsuit that had spiraled out of control. Apparently, the court demanded evidence that could clear Tiny's name from financial fraud claims. And Shekinah's name was right in the middle of it. But here's where it got strange. The leaked court documents revealed something deeper. Shekinah had allegedly been handling funds, managing deals, and making moves on behalf of Tiny's brand years ago. When money started missing, people pointed fingers. Tiny wanted to protect her legacy. But somewhere in that chaos, friendship turned into betrayal. Still, fans couldn't ignore the emotional core of it all. These weren't just business partners, they were family. Watching them tear each other apart publicly felt heartbreaking. Then came the twist no one expected. Just 2 days after the footage surfaced, an anonymous source sent an email to several major blogs. Attached was a short clip, never seen before. It showed Shekinah crying on FaceTime, talking to someone she called Tip. The voice on the other end sounded suspiciously like T.I. Shekinah sobbed, "You said you'd fix this. You said you'd protect me." And the voice replied coldly, "I can't help you no more." That one clip flipped everything upside down. If real, it proved that T.I. knew something was coming long before it hit the media. And fans began asking, was Tiny acting out of pain? Or revenge? Because now, people started remembering that moment at the award show months earlier, when Tiny's expression changed the moment Shekinah's name was mentioned. It was small, subtle, but it was there. The silence, the tight smile, the glance toward T.I. The industry started buzzing. Fellow artists quietly unfollowed Shekinah. PR teams went into overdrive trying to distance brands from the chaos. But it was too late. The court hearing was set, and Tiny was listed as a key witness. When the day finally came, the atmosphere outside the courthouse was wild. Fans, reporters, and bloggers all waited. Cameras flashed. Security was tight. And then, Tiny stepped out of her car, dressed in black, no makeup, her eyes red but calm. She didn't speak a word, but the pain on her face said enough. Inside the courtroom, tension filled the air. Shekinah refused to look at her. T.I. sat in the back, his jaw locked, eyes down. Every word felt heavy. When the footage was played, gasps echoed across the room. It wasn't just about money. It wasn't just about business. It was emotional. Raw conversations, late-night recordings, and audio clips that captured real tears, real betrayal. At one point, Shekinah reportedly broke down shouting, "You used me. You know I didn't mean to hurt you." But Tiny didn't flinch. She kept staring straight ahead, like every word was just confirming what she already knew. Later that day, the judge announced that the case would move forward, and Shekinah could face up to 10 years if convicted. That's when things got ugly. Fans split into two camps. Some said Tiny was finally standing up for herself after years of manipulation. Others said she went too far, that submitting such personal footage was cruel. Social media turned into a battlefield. Old friends of both women started picking sides. A producer who once worked with them tweeted, "Sometimes the truth hurts more than the lie." Another responded, "No loyalty in this industry." Meanwhile, T.I. tried to stay quiet. But how could he? Every headline had his name in it. Every comment mentioned that alleged affair rumor again. His own son, King Harris, reportedly unfollowed both women for a short time, posting cryptic messages like, "Can't trust nobody, even the ones who say they love you." That broke fans' hearts. Because if King was caught in the middle, if his family was collapsing under secrets they'd all kept, what did that mean for the truth? Then, 3 days later, Tiny finally spoke. She went live on Instagram, her voice trembling as she said, "I didn't want it to go this far. I didn't want to lose her, but I had to protect myself. There are things y'all don't know, things that could destroy families. I just want peace." That line, "things that could destroy families," hit differently. What was she talking about? Another secret? Another hidden chapter? Not long after, a TMZ report claimed that the footage Tiny provided also hinted at personal relationships that blurred professional boundaries. And though names weren't confirmed, fans didn't need much to connect the dots. It all pointed to the long-whispered rumors of Shekinah's connection to T.I. Shekinah went live that same night, tears running down her face. "Y'all really think I would ever betray her like that? I loved that woman. I looked up to her. I did everything for her." She paused, voice cracking. "And as for Tip, that's between them. Not me." That between them line blew up instantly. Within minutes, it was trending. People asked, did Shekinah just confirm something? Or was she trying to dodge the question? Either way, the damage was done. Behind the scenes, sources claimed T.I. begged Tiny to drop the case, saying it was destroying their family's image. But Tiny refused. She allegedly told him, "If you loved me, you would have told me the truth years ago." That one sentence said more than any statement ever could. From that point, things spiraled fast. Tiny reportedly moved out of their home for a few weeks, needing space to think. T.I. was seen alone at events, looking distant. And King was furious. He posted a story with a black screen that simply read, "Y'all adults ruined everything." Fans flooded the comments with heartbreak emojis, realizing that once again, the next generation was paying for the mistakes of the last. Weeks passed, and the internet tried to move on, but the story refused to die. Every new leak brought more chaos. One clip showed Shekinah admitting she knew something wasn't right, but didn't want to lose her job. Another clip captured Tiny confiding in someone about the biggest lie I've ever been told. By now, the story wasn't just about betrayal. It was about power, pain, and survival in an industry where loyalty shifts faster than fame. Shekinah's lawyer released a statement calling Tiny's footage an act of revenge disguised as justice. Tiny's lawyer shot back, saying the evidence speaks for itself. And T.I.? He stayed silent, completely. But the silence spoke volumes. Because when you've lived your life in front of cameras, silence becomes louder than words. As the final court date approached, Tiny was seen again. No glam, no entourage, just her walking into court holding a single photo in her hand. Insiders say it was an old picture of her and Shekinah laughing, arms around each other like sisters. Maybe it was a reminder of what they lost. When the judge finally announced that a plea deal was being discussed, the tension eased, but the damage couldn't be undone. Tiny left the courtroom first, her head high but her eyes empty. Shekinah stayed behind, sobbing. The cameras caught that moment. Tiny walking past her without looking back, Shekinah reaching out but stopping halfway. That single frame went viral. People captioned it, "When Love Turns into War." Weeks later, T.I. made a quiet podcast appearance. Without naming names, his words hit hard. Sometimes the people you build with are the ones who break you. But God sees all. Fans knew who he meant. Days after, Tiny posted simply, "God also sees who lies in his name." And just like that, another chapter began. In Hollywood, betrayal doesn't end. It hides, waiting to resurface. For Tiny, T.I., and Shekinah, the damage was lasting. Their friendship became evidence. Memories turned to courtroom exhibits. In the end, it wasn't about fame. It was about trust and how quickly it disappears.